Hi, what is the house of God? When you visit with a church on Sunday in a building, is that building the house of God? I've heard this many times, sometimes even in prayers. But is a building really the house of God? You'll be very encouraged to learn about the house of God. The location might actually be a lot closer than you think. At the end, I'll share one passage that really sums this up. Shortly after God redeemed the nation of Israel from Egypt, he wanted to dwell with them. So he ordered Moses to make a tabernacle so that God himself could dwell with his people. This is a model of that tabernacle. Notice here, this is called the outer court. And now this is where the offerings were taking place. This side, by the way, is the eastern side, and this is where the priests would wash themselves. The sacrifices would always be on the northern side. The northern side, they would kill the animal and then take him to the altar here. Jesus himself also died north of the temple. Then the next place is here. That's called the holy place. You'll find the table of showbread with 12 loaves representing the 12 tribes. The menorah with 7 lights. Now here would be the altar of incense. Okay, and this represented the prayers. Now inside here is the Holy of Holies. God himself lived there. It is very, you just can't enter. Notice here there's the curtain. That's the curtain that was cut when Jesus died on the cross. When the Israelites took the land of Canaan, they placed the tabernacle in Shiloh. Later on, David wanted to build a temple for God, but God didn't want that, and his son Solomon ended up building the first temple in Jerusalem. The temple was considered the house of God. It was amazing, but the temple was destroyed by the Babylonians around 586 BC. After 7 years, they returned and built the next temple. King Herod the Great ended up really improving on that temple. It was humongous after that. Jesus, shortly before his crucifixion, prophesied that not one of those stones of the temple would stay on top of one another. Remember, the temple was God's house? That's where God lived. 10 days after Jesus ascended to heaven, it was the feast of Shavuot. So what happened? There was a huge fire and a huge wind, and the fire split and fell on parts of the believers who were in that house. The house is always a phrase referring to the temple. Watch this video about this. God had moved. Now we as believers are the temple. So now for the extra. Now remember that Jesus said that not one stone will be left on top of another? Well, there was gold between the stones. When they were burning the temple, they didn't want to destroy the gold, so they took each stone from the temple at a time. Not one stone was left on another. God bless you. Bye-bye.